Ministers must be able to give direct critical feedback on briefings and submissions to senior officials in order to set the standards and drive the reform the public expects of us. The most amazing thing about people like Dominic Raab is the marriage of incompetence with self-regard. It is so healthy to have a little bit of insecurity. It really is. But how you deal with insecurity determines how you present to the world. So if you greet your insecurity, if you haven't got any insecurity, you're a sociopath. I'm not qualified to comment on whether Dominic Raab is a sociopath or not. There certainly are sociopaths in government. There are sociopaths at the top of most organisations, someone utterly devoid of conscience or empathy. Suella Braverman, I'd be more confident describing as a sociopath in the current context. So it may be that Raab is insecure and he masks his insecurity by behaving as if he has all the answers to everything and is actually some sort of superhero. If you are incompetent and you are conscious of your incompetence and you are on some psychological level ashamed of your incompetence, then one of the things that you do is shout a lot and become a bully in order to mask your incompetence and claim that you are a hard taskmaster. You can bully your way to the finish line, and then you can persuade yourself that you're actually a tough guy. I'm not a bully, I'm a tough guy. I get things done. If people can't handle the heat, they should get out of the kitchen. I'm Dominic Raab, master chef, and if you can't handle the heat, you should get out of my kitchen. That's how he sees himself. Almost certainly. He does judo, doesn't he, or karate, or something like that. I bet he does it in the mirror. I bet he does it in the mirror. Wax on, wax off. I'm Dominic Raab, Karate Kid. I bet he does it in the mirror. And then, of course, he comes to work where his inadequacies are clear for everybody to see, because most civil servants are quite clever. And in order to mask the fact that he's the thickest person in the room, he has to be the angriest. When he says, I set standards and drive the reform the public expect of us. I'm Dominic Raab, Karate Kid, driving reform and setting... No, you're shouting at people or bullying people or being unpleasant to people or undermining people. If you've got a really powerful mandate, a really powerful platform, a really powerful plan, you can whisper it to people. If you're right, you can whisper it. So that's not true. That doesn't work. We're going to do this. But on he goes. Of course, this must be done within reasonable bounds. Clearly, this is not in the letter. I did not do it within reasonable bounds, but I'm not going to admit that because I'm a pathetic man-child. Mr. Tolley concluded that I had not once in 4.5 years sworn or shouted at anyone, let alone thrown anything or otherwise physically intimidated anyone, nor intentionally sought to belittle anyone. I am, like all bullies, unaware of the consequences of my actions or the reality of my engagements with other human beings. This is because I am both thick and angry almost all the time, too stupid to realise how offensive I'm being, and too angry to pause long enough to wonder whether or not I'm being offensive to people. I am genuinely sorry for any unintended stress or offence that any officials felt as a result of the pace, standards and challenge that I brought to the Ministry of Justice. I'm Dominic Raab, Karate Kid, feel my pace, standards and challenge. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the Raab kitchen. It's so easy to read these people. They're so unspeakably pathetic. It's almost shooting fish in a barrel territory, isn't it? Finally, I raised with you a number of improprieties that came to light during the course of this inquiry. This is the bit where he claims he's the real victim here. They include the systematic leaking of skewed and fabricated claims to the media in breach of the rules of the inquiry and the Civil Service Code of Conduct. So, in a country where the media is so horribly biased in favour of his party, his prime ministers, his Brexit, he somehow thinks that you see this a little bit among the gammon and pineapple corners of Twitter, among the Billy Buncher numbers with the Bulldog avatar, the claim that the MSM, the mainstream media, is biased against us, when they can't name a single outlet, except possibly The Guardian, that ever says boo to a fascist-adjacent goose. It's quite incredible. Oh, the media were against me as well. I'm Dominic Raab. Everybody hates me. You've got a Deputy Prime Minister who's a bully. You had a Home Secretary who was a bully. You had a Chancellor of the Exchequer who had been economical with the actuality about his own tax affairs. Where does it end? What happened to Gavin Williamson? Didn't he have to go as well? Nadine Dorries is too busy presenting chat shows and writing newspaper columns to reflect upon the damage that she's done to our country. It's frankly unbelievable. And, Keith, get the tin. When it comes to Dominic Raab, my God, I told you so.